Welcome to a new episode of Books and Beyond from the Winter Park Library, recorded live in the recording studio at the library in beautiful Winter Park, Florida. In Books and Beyond, we have conversations with writers, musicians, artists, presenters, and other contributors. Most of our guests have appeared live at the Winter Park Library or will be presenting soon. We hope you'll subscribe to the Books and Beyond podcast and that you'll stay up to date with library goings-on at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. I'm Michael Werner, and I'll be your host for our interviews. Enjoy the show. Hello out there, library patrons, readers, and smart people everywhere. This is Michael Werner coming in live from the studio, the recording studio at the Winter Park Library in beautiful downtown Winter Park. And today we have a special guest because it's going to be all about Winter Park and the beautiful things that you can do and see here in Winter Park. We have Kim Michalak. Hi, Kim.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Kim wrote a book, and we're going to talk a little bit about this in a moment. We're going to talk about her background first, but she wrote a book called 100 Things to Do in Winter Park Before You Die. So we're going to find out how many I've done, for one thing, because I've lived here a long time. And I bet I've done a lot of them already.
I think it's got to be at least 50.
I think at least 50, yeah. Kim, tell us a little bit about your background. What do you do in real life, and where are you from, and just give us a little brief bio.
Sure. I was born in Winter Park and attended Rollins College, Go Tars. Been in Winter Park ever since. I've worked for over 10 years, different shops and restaurants in Winter Park, so I feel like I've got a good sense of our community here. By day, I work for a consulting firm. I also do some freelance work as a copywriter, a mom and a wife, my two fabulous little kids, and we're just enjoying the Winter Park life.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. And is kind of your dream to be a writer? Do you want to be a writer full-time, or where are you going with this?
Well, that would be a dream.
Yeah.
I primarily write poetry, so that's not as lucrative of a career path as you might imagine.
Right.
So I mean, this is more of a passion project for me. I'd always wanted to write a book, and the opportunity presented itself. Thought, what do I know more about than Winter Park? And there we go.
And how did this come about? So it's 100 things to do in Winter Park before you die. So how did this come about?
The press that publishes the 100 Things series is Reedy Press, and they have probably over 100 books at this point of different locations all across the nation, different states that you can look into, or cities such as Winter Park. And they didn't have anything for our area. Orlando has had a couple different versions of the 100 Things book, and I really thought it was our time. We're just as special. We may be the little sister, but I think that there's plenty of things, as I think you can see by the book, 100 Things, that would draw someone to the area and really make us our own destination of sorts.
And Reedy Press, they're not a local publishing company here, right? They're somewhere else, I think.
Right, yeah, they're...
Are they Minnesota or something? They're in the north somewhere.
They are in the north somewhere. It's escaping me.
So you wanted to write a book, or you saw this opportunity as a way to write your first book, and this is your first book, right?
Yes, it is.
Did you have to send a query letter to them? How did that process work?
Yes, you can send a query directly to them from their website. They kind of take a look at where you're qualified and interested to write about. Take a look at what their inventory is like and what their scheduling for publishing is like. If that they think that your area is something special and that you're the right person to write it, they'll send a contract to you and get you started on writing the book. I think one of the first steps was to send them a couple samples to give them an idea of kind of things that they could expect and take a look at your writing style. Once everything was green-lighted, for me it was a very fast process. I think usually it takes probably 18, maybe 24 months for some people, but they sort of fast-tracked me because they had an opening in their publishing lineup.
Okay.
And within a year, from query letter to book in hand, 2024 into 2025 was a whirlwind for me.
Wow, that's wonderful. And did you, given that you have a family and you have other job obligations, did you have what was your pattern for writing this? Did you sort of do it in the morning, the afternoons? Did you have any pattern? Did you just do it when you could?
Well, I tried to write probably a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon. my goal when I first started, beyond just amassing a list of all the amazing things and then culling it down, was to try to write 3 entries a day, at least draft them, so that I could, pretty much get within a little over 3-4 months there, because obviously some days you have to take a break, but
Sure.
about 4 months of writing the content and then going back through and revising. And of course, Reedy, the publisher, had certain opinions about things that maybe needed to get revised or cut or condensed. But for the most part, the writing took place in about 4 months.
Okay. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's just maybe it's kismet. I don't know. I just opened a book here. I was browsing through it here, and I just opened it up to the Writer's Block bookstore, and which is kind of interesting because Writer's Block is the sponsor of our studio here at the Winter Park Library. Yeah, so that was one of your entries.
They're a really special place, the library and the bookstore. I know, kind of working together a lot, but the bookstore is also very special. They've got some great events that they put on, and a really beautiful space over there.
Yeah, from time to time when they don't have enough space there, they use other venues, and one of them is the great theater that we have here at the Winter Park Library. Mm-hmm. And I think they might use the downtown library as well too. I'm not really sure, but they do come here often with their writers.
That's awesome.
And the writers are, and you were here.
I was here.
You were here.
Yes.
When were you here?
I was here in June, I believe.
Okay, so very recently.
Just recently.
And you talked just about your book, or what did you?
Yes,
talk
just
about?
did a brief presentation on the book, kind of a get to know you for the people that were in the audience, try to find out how many of the things that they'd done, and it had a little bit of a competition. It was fun.
And what did you get from that? I mean, did you find out were there 2 or 3 places that people really glammed onto, or?
I think there are definitely a certain number of places, shops, restaurants, and the recreational areas that Winter Park is known for. Those are the big names, right? You've got the Morse Museum and Hillstone on the lake, and so a lot of people brought up kind of the obvious things, and I thought it was fun to challenge them a little bit to look into some of the things that are newer, a little more niche. But really, the audience was fabulous. They really had their pulse on Winter Park. Some of them had been residents, I think one for almost 50 years.
Wow. So they knew quite a bit about it.
Right. I was preaching to the choir a little bit, but we had a good time reminiscing.
Yeah. And have you done that presentation elsewhere, or similar presentation?
Not that exact one, no. I'll have a revised version that I'll be sharing with the parents and family members of the current Rollins students for their family weekend in November. But that'll be more of an introduction to Winter Park, since most of them, maybe not most, but some of them may not be local.
For the parents of Rollins students?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you're doing that at Rollins?
At Rollins, yes, for their family weekend.
Sometime in the weekend. So we're going to get into talking about... Whoa! Uh-oh. What does that mean? Well, you know what that means, Kim? We're here with Kim Michalak, and that means it's time for rapid fire Q&A.
Oh no.
Yep, that's a chance for us to get to know you a little bit better as a person.
All right.
So we're gonna fire
do
some questions at you, and see what you say.
Okay.
Some might be about Winter Park, but not necessarily.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Question number 1. Just picked at random from our Q&A box.
Okay.
All right. What advice would you give to the Kim Michalak 20-year-old if you could go back and talk to her?
The 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Say yes to everything.
Were you a cautious person?
I was a cautious person. There's also a couple of things that I regret not doing, or experiences, particularly through college, regret not taking advantage of, studying abroad, things like that.
Okay.
And so I would have just, tried to convince my younger self to really step out of the box a little.
Yeah. Next one? What's your favorite city in the world?
Winter Park.
Winter Park. Okay.
Of course.
Okay. Not including.
That was a test.
That was not including Winter Park. Not including anything nearby. What would it be?
That's a good question. It's been a number of years since I've been to London. I'd love to get back there, so that's probably one of the top.
Okay. Do you have a favorite movie?
A favorite movie? All right, I know it's not it's not literary. It may not be politically correct anymore, but
Okay.
Love Actually is one of my favorite movies.
Love Actually.
Yes.
I know the title. Who was in that movie?
Oh, this was Hugh Grant and Liam Neeson. It is a rom-com that followed a bunch of different storylines that was just over the top and really looking back at it, silly now, but it's just ingrained in me from, I think, an impressionable age when I first watched it. So it's just nostalgic fun.
And what did you want to be when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. And after being a teacher, I have even more respect for them now.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Trust your gut. I think what's right for one person is not necessarily right for another, but you know yourself better than anyone else.
Okay, great. And we'll end on this one, and this might relate to something in Winter Park too. If this food item, it could be any kind of a main dish, a appetizer, whatever. If this food item had 0 calories, what and it was very healthy. So transform your thing into very healthy and 0 calories. What food could you eat every day, or would you like to eat every day?
Well, I'm a big sweet tooth, and honestly, I do eat sweet things every day already as it is.
Okay.
So don't tell my doctor, but
Okay, so something
we'd be doubling the intake of the chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, well that relates. Let's relate that to your book. Where would we go for sweet things in Winter Park?
Well, I will say that AJ Chocolate House is not kidding when they say they have over 150 different types of sweets.
AJ Chocolate House, and where is that? I don't
That
think I
is
know
right on the corner of Fairbanks and Park Avenue, where the IDC, the Diamond Shop, used to be.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
They have transformed that into a very beautiful.
Across from the 7-Eleven.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Little location. The glass encased pastries and chocolate. I think mostly, I guess, chocolate. Assorted chocolates and fudges, and I think they.
Whoa! And do they make everything there?
They do. It's actually the first location in the United States of a family that is chocolatiers from Europe, and it's a must go, really.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad to hear about it. I have some daughters in town right now for a special summer gathering,
Fun.
and one of them is a pastry loving person. So, and she's seeking out pastries all the time. So I need to tell her about this place.
Croissant Gourmet also for
Croissant
pastries.
Gourmet,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't
Actually,
leave them out. But
yeah, that's the one on Morse, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she used to work there when she was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Many years. She was when the thing first started, so she knows that place pretty
So
well.
she's got high expectations for
She has
pastries.
she has high expectations. Okay, let's get back to your book and talk about what you think might be the perfect day in Winter Park.
Okay.
And I guess it would depend on who you are, but what's the perfect day just in general? What would be a great day?
Sure. I would like to start the day at New General. It's the way I started my day this morning with
Okay.
our golden latte with turmeric milk, turmeric and oat milk.
And where is
Delicious.
the New General?
New General is on New England Avenue, not far off of Park Avenue. And then I think you probably got to do the boat tour early because right now it's getting hot out there.
It's hot. Yeah. Okay.
But the boat tour is a must-do, of course. I would probably stop at the Morse Museum before lunch. That Tiffany Cathedral is a breathtaking sight. Really one of the most astounding things I've ever seen. So it's my favorite, just for a little bit of inspiration or when you're feeling a little down.
Do kids enjoy the Morse Museum, you think, or not? Not so much.
I would probably not take the children to the Morse Museum.
Okay.
There's plenty of other parks and things that I would take the kids to, like the library. You're at the library. There's so much more for the children to do.
Thank you for leading me to that because I forgot. The way to find out what's going on at the library, Kim, is you can check winterparklibrary.org/events, and that gives you a list of all the events that are happening this month and next month, and sometimes even 2 months into the future. So that's a great place to find out about events. Okay, back to your perfect day. Sorry, I interrupted everything.
No problem. So probably for me, a quick lunch and smoothie at Powerhouse Cafe. You can do the walking tour
And
of
that's
downtown
Powerhouse.
Park.
I know it. It's on. Is that New England? What is
Lyman
on?
Avenue,
Lyman,
I believe.
okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Lyman
okay.
and Park.
Okay.
And I mean, you've got to get over to Mead Gardens or Craft Azalea Gardens just to sit in nature for a little bit, see if you can see, some of our wildlife, the cranes and some of the egrets and things. You see a lot of birds at both of these locations. Just really beautiful, natural Florida environment. For evening, I think you've got to be on the lake at Hillstone for dinner, catching the sunset and those Adirondack chairs back there. Maybe a little evening fun, catch a movie. I think the Aloma Cinema Grill is a great little spot. It's not expensive, it's not fancy, but it's fun, and then that's something that the Winter Park has held dear for a long time. And then evening, I think, see if you can catch the Bach Festival somewhere, the choir or the orchestra. Maybe stop for some gelato at Peterbrook or at Gelato Go. And that kind of wraps up the day for me.
That would be an awesome day. And actually, I was at Hillstone one time with my wife. We were just having drinks outside because they have a wonderful. Just anybody who hasn't been, they have a wonderful outdoor area too that goes down to the lake, and an outdoor sitting area on the lake, a little dock, and I don't know what, like a pagoda or something out there. A seaplane came and landed there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And they got out of the seaplane. I mean, they pulled it right up to the shore, got out and had dinner, and then left. I later found out, I think that the guy who had the seaplane, he lives on the other side of the lake. So it's just kind of a fun toy for him.
Oh,
wow. For those of us that can afford seaplanes.
Right. I think Lake Killarney right there. Isn't that the lake where they do the Christmas boat parade? All the fancy yachts all lit up in Christmas lights.
Well, I think they're because they're connected to the other Winter Park lakes. So I think they start there maybe, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Really
I know
sure.
That's one of those things that's a truly Winter Park experience also.
Is that in your book?
Yes, I think I did mention it. There's a lot of holiday-related events that really give Winter Park that small-town charm. So I don't know that I could include every single one, but there's definitely an entry about those.
Okay. Yeah, my kids always enjoyed the Winter Park Christmas parade. Was always great. And then I think before when does the Morse Museum put the lights out, or the what do you call them? The stained glass out into the park?
That's
before
usually
Christmas, right?
Either right before or right after that Winter on the Avenue. I want to say it's usually like the day before.
Okay. What about families? Just specific things for families that you might mention or you want to mention?
Specific things for families.
Or kids, to take your kids.
Yeah. We've got great attractions like the bowling alley. We have Katy Way Park and the pool. There's a great biking trail. I would say also a couple of really great playgrounds that are around. You have
the one right next to us
Phelps.
Here.
Yes,
right next to
this
here
one
in Morse Park, or Morse Boulevard.
Is fabulous. I think that's the Martin Luther King Jr. Park, and the community playground, I think is what that one's called. That one's great. My kid loves that one. It's like a big wooden castle.
Yeah.
I always have to put him in a brightly colored shirt because I can't find him when he's in there for a long time.
Yeah.
Got to keep an eye. But really, there's a lot of great things for kids to do. One of the fun things that comes to mind at Mead Gardens is their Rubber Ducky Race Day. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but they have a whole day where you can come out and there's vendors and food and guided walking tours, and then they do rubber duck races in the morning and the afternoon, and it's just fun, wholesome cuteness.
Do you know there's probably, like here at the Winter Park Library, we have the Winter Park Library winterparklibrary.org/events for finding stuff. There must be a thing for Winter Park as well. Do you know? Like winterpark.com.
It's not as complete as you might imagine.
Okay.
So yes, there is an events page for the city of Winter Park, but I would also look at some of the individual parks. Mead Gardens has their own page. Certainly Rollins and the library will have their own pages.
Okay. What about a date night? You're going on a date with your husband. What would you recommend that your husband and you do, or other couples?
We like to try new, different restaurants. There's so many restaurants. That was one of the things that I was sad to have to cut and condense some of these restaurants, because I probably could have had 100
You
things.
could do a whole book on just the 100 restaurants.
Exactly, yes.
in Winter
And
Park.
even since publishing the book, there's been a couple really fabulous ones open. But I'd say definitely checking out a new restaurant, the classic walk down Park Avenue in the evening. Places like Vinia have live music some nights. And so
is that on Park Avenue? Vinia?
That one is in Hannibal Square.
Okay. And it's called Vinia? I don't know that one. Vinia?
Yes,
Okay.
Vinia.
Okay.
I want to say it's Italian-Brazilian fusion.
Interesting.
Really delicious.
Okay.
Kind of a lot of tapas style things. Smaller restaurant, but really quality.
Okay, wonderful. Couple things you want to mention, or maybe want to mention that are not in your book. Again, the book is 100 Things to Do in Winter Park Before You Die, but it's going to be changed. If you wrote the book now, you'd probably have some different things in there.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, there's been a couple places that have opened, as I mentioned, just recently. One of the restaurants, the Chapman, that's on Park Avenue in Comstock, kind of right after that first block.
Okay. Is that a bar or a restaurant? Or
It's
both?
a restaurant. It's
Okay.
huge. They have a bar as well, but it's part of the Artistry Restaurants group. They're the
Okay.
folks that put out that do Boca and the Atlantic Beer and Oyster Company.
Okay.
And I want to say the menu was designed by the creator of Seasons 52. Lots of Florida-themed food and dishes, so lots of citrus and fish. Just everything looks really fresh and delicious. So that's definitely on my to-try list. And, it may make the second version of the book if we ever get there.
Yeah. When I came to Winter Park, and I moved to Winter Park probably a long time ago, Winter Park was not like this. So, I don't know if you remember when you were a little kid. It wasn't like this. There weren't a lot of restaurants. There weren't a lot of bars. There wasn't really music other than in the park from time to time. So it's changed a lot in the last 20 years, I would say. Yeah.
Definitely. One of the other spots that I remember being iconic was that Lombardi Seafood, building. And it's been a number of things since then, but just recently they opened Blackfin, the Vietnamese coffee bar, which looks
that's interesting.
amazing as well. I think it's a coffee shop, plant shop hybrid. I want to say the space is also shared by a gym, so
That's interesting.
there's a lot going on there. But if you're up for some strong coffee, I think that's another place definitely to check out.
Blackfin.
Blackfin, yes, Phin.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I know where that's at the corner of 1792 and Orange, maybe. I think that's where it is. Orlando, whatever that
Right,
road
the
is.
actual road is a different road, but you see it
Yeah.
right there on the corner of Orange and 17.
Yeah. Okay, we're here with Kim Michalak, and we're finishing up here. 100 Things to Do in Winter Park Before You Die. Where do we find your book? Well, we find it here at the library.
You can definitely find it here at the library. You can find it at the Writer's Block bookstore.
Okay.
I saw
Which
it.
is on Park Avenue.
It sure is.
And I think there's another. They have another branch in Winter Garden.
Yes,
Okay.
we do have another branch in Winter Garden.
Yeah.
I know the New General has picked it up, so it is there as
Wonderful.
well.
Okay.
You can also get it from the Barnes & Noble on East Colonial, from Reedy Press's website directly. They have free shipping and regular promo codes there. And, of course, the dreaded Amazon. If you're
Yeah.
an Amazon subscriber, it is there, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Anything else you want to tell us about your book before we say goodbye?
I would like to say that part of the reason that I wrote the book is because of the welcoming sense of community that I get from everyone, whether it's from when I worked on the Avenue or when I was at Rollins College. The people are what made Winter Park such a special space for me. So whether you're listening to this and feeling the same about Winter Park, I want to thank you for just being part of that community and for making Winter Park as special as it is. If you feel inclined to check out the book, I appreciate that. And if not, I appreciate you just for being here.
Well, wonderful. We really appreciate you being here too, Kim, and
Thank you.
telling us about your book, because I think those people that listen to this probably love Winter Park as much as we do. So it's great. I'm excited to dig into your book and try some of the new things.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Books and Beyond from the Winter Park Library. This podcast would not be possible without the generous help and support from the library staff, and especially from Jeremy Zorn. Jeremy's official title is Public Services Librarian, but he does many things here at the library, including producing this podcast. We can't do this without you, Jeremy. Our theme music is from the song Don't Go by Bovine Joe and the Buffalo Herd. That's Herd spelled H-E-A-R-D. We hope you'll let your friends and others know about this podcast and that you'll come by the library for one of our offerings, which you can find at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. If you have questions or suggestions for the podcast or just want to talk about Books and Beyond, please send an email to podcast@winterparklibrary.org. That's an email to podcast@winterparklibrary.org. Remember that the Winter Park Library promotes the free and open exchange of ideas and does not attempt to control or take responsibility for any opinions that may be expressed in this podcast. Opinions expressed in this podcast do not constitute or imply an endorsement or a reflection of the library's policies or beliefs. This is Michael Werner, wishing you well until our next episode of Books and Beyond.